Okay, I think it's time to get started. So welcome to today's webinar. Today we'll be looking at different styles of mind maps. So we'll be covering the three key styles of mind maps, which are the speed maps, organic, and radial. And we'll also be looking at a few different speed map styles you can choose from as well. And just for those people who I can see have just joined us, there is a button called Q&A on the toolbar. Please click on that to submit any questions you have about the features that we're showing you today. And we are recording this session, and we will send out a recording tomorrow. Okay, so welcome to the webinar. So this is the home page. And to create a new mind map, you click Create Mind Map here. And straight away, you can already see that we've got three key different styles to choose from. So blank speed map, organic, and radial map. So I'm just going to switch to a mind map that I created earlier, so I can just show you the different styles. So this first one is speed map. So you can see that on here, each of the branches have boxes and all the text is contained within those boxes. You'll also be able to see that the branches are very evenly spaced apart, which makes it slightly easier to read. And what the speed maps allow you to do is to very quickly add your branches to the mind map without having to worry about formatting. You've got a bit more freedom to add a little bit of extra text if you want. Generally, you should try and stick to one word per branch, as that is the traditional way of mind mapping and the most effective. But if that's something that you're struggling with, then you'll find that box branches, especially in speed maps, will work better for you. So right now we're looking at speed maps. So we've got these different box branches, much easier for displaying, text, which maybe you can't quite get down to one word, and it's a lot more evenly spaced. Where the speed maps also work really nicely is with our shortcuts. So for example, if I just click on this branch and I want to quickly add something, I can use Tab. And that allows me to quickly add another branch, or this is known as a child branch, as it comes straight after another branch. And then to add a branch on the same level, I click Enter. You can see how easy that is. And by working with other people, so you can invite people to collaborate on your mind map, the speed maps work really well for that, as you can all quickly enter your ideas without getting in each other's way, without having to worry too much about where you're placing the branches, as everything will just automatically sort of tidy up around you. So you can switch between those three styles at any point. So if I go back here, I can start in any of these three styles, but if I want to switch later on, I can do that. So click on this menu. So this is your display options. And then in here, we've got board type. And this is where you can switch between those key three styles. So before I switch over to the organic style, I'm going to show you some extra styles that we have for speed maps. So if I click here, automatically it will be on the box map. But I can play around these different styles as well. So for example, if I choose direction map, then suddenly the box branches don't have an outline anymore. There's a lot more white space. And you've got these, aesthetically pleasing arrows pointing out from the central idea. So if you wanted, a mind map that was slightly cleaner, maybe with less emphasis on colors and bright shapes, then this one might work quite nicely for you. Then we've also got the line map. So, that's quite similar as well, where there's a lot more, white space available between each of the branches. And then finally, we've got the gradient map. And this one's really nice. It's got quite a different feel to normal mind maps. So what you'd usually have in a mind map, if I switch, here, I'll just give an example. So usually, you'll have a branch and they'll have the same colors. While in this one, as it radiates away from the center of the mind map, it changes from, a cool color, then into a warm color, then back into a cool color again. So, you can see how the ideas have developed using colors rather than each thread of branches being the same color. But if you prefer, you can just stick to box map and customize the branches as you go along. That's a quick overview of the speed map style. So now I'm just going to show you the organic map. So the organic map will probably be more familiar to those of you who have drawn mind maps by hand. Perhaps you've read about mind mapping before, maybe you've seen a TV program, maybe you did it in school or university. And this might be, just that little bit more familiar to you. So instead of having boxes, the text goes along the branches. And these branches can be manipulated to create really interesting shapes. So just to show you this in a slightly smaller one, you can see, if I zoom in here, you've got these little points. And you can bend out from these points, move it along. You can really have fun with making these branches as creative as you want. So, if you're all about creativity and you really enjoy drawing interesting creative mind maps, then the organic view is probably the one that you're going to gravitate to. Another difference between this view and the speed map view. So I'm just going to switch back to the speed map view on this one so I can directly compare the two. So you can see in here, the images are inside the boxes, whilst here the images are floating and I can move them around the branch. I can make them bigger and smaller and rotate them. So you've got a bit more freedom, with how those images are displayed. So if you really want complete control, over how your mind map looks, then this may be, the view that works best for you. So there's an additional option within here that you may not, but what you won't see in the speed map view. For example, cleanup mode. So if you've been playing around with the mind map, but you find actually it's a little bit messy now, I needed to go back the way that it was, or I just need to clean it up a little bit. Click clean up. And that will readjust the mind map so it's tidier than it was before. Then next, the other final view that we've got is the radial map view. So you can see this is completely different to the previous views. So instead of branches, we have segments. It still works in a similar way where you've got your central idea and then your key ideas around the central idea and they radiate outwards. But as you have segments, you can show, how important they are or how much attention they need by increasing and decreasing the size of the segments. So automatically, it will just show you the top 3 tier, but you can adjust this down here and show as many as you want. Where this view also works really nicely is that you can zoom in and drill down into particular branches. So for example, if I want to just purely focus on the presentation aspect of this mind map, if I click on a segment, and then I click this button here, so the arrow pointing upwards, I click focus in, and then that hides all the other segments. It makes that segment the center with all the segments after it surrounding it. And now I can just purely focus on the presentation. I don't have to worry about the other part of the mind map. That's out of my view. It's not going to clutter or distract me. And I can just purely focus on this section of the map. Then whenever I'm ready, I can click home, and that expands the radial map back. And I can go in and focus on other aspects when I'm ready. And you can keep drilling down and down until you're right at the bottom. So where radial maps can work really nicely is, in those instances where you do need to communicate not just different ideas, but maybe, how important an idea is or how much time it's going to take up. By increasing and decreasing those segments, those are great ways of communicating that. It can also be a great way to revise. So, if you are using, different sections to revise different topics, you can hide the answers by displaying only the top 3 levels. And then to test yourself, you can zoom in, to see the answers. There are also a really interesting different way to communicate ideas that's a little bit different to a mind map and may work better at grabbing someone's attention in a meeting. Now, as I mentioned at the start, you can begin in any of those 3 styles and then switch whenever you want. And we've got a few different templates here as well. So, if you are not quite sure where to begin, you can pick a template. And even if it's, starts off in radial view or starts off in speed map view, you can change that whenever you're ready. So for example, let's create a book review. And then even though this is started off in the speed map view, I can decide, actually, I'm going to try this out in a radial map. And that way, rather than being overwhelmed by every single aspect of this book review, I can decide I'm just going to focus in on key quotations and then start building my radial map from there. Alternatively, if you're doing a group project and you want to get feedback and interaction with the people, you may find that actually the speed map view is the best view for you. And then by going to share, you can invite other people to collaborate. And they will then be able to add branches, which you'll be able to see added in real time. And you can all contribute, to the book report, the book review, the project, even the company project, or even if you just want to collaborate with family members, it's really, really up to you. Alternatively, if you're working on your own, and maybe you really struggle to concentrate, and you just want to take a little bit more time on concentrating on the visuals because you find that's what works for you. You're a doodler. Things work better for you when they are attractive or really visual. Then swap over to the organic view, and you can start playing along with those shapes to really get your attention. So, you can start adding your images. And really start brightening it up. Now, once you've created your mind map, you're not completely limited by the default style. For example, in the organic view, if you want to start adding box branches, you can do that as well. The box branches aren't just in the speed map view. So if I want to do that, just click on the paintbrush and I change it from no box. And then I can just add whatever works for me. So I quite like that little bubble. If I'm not quite sure of the color, if I want to just change that, make that contrast a little bit more, I can do that. And if I quite like that, and I think, what, that will actually work, this whole series of branches, I can click apply style to children. And I've got all my branches. So I'm just going to quickly clean that up. And I've got a new part of my mind map, which is really striking. So I can also choose to, just pick out, little things to grab my attention. Perhaps there are things that no matter how much you revise or, how much you're trying to tell yourself about, that's really important, you just keep forgetting. Use a shape to highlight that idea. So, as you zoom out, your eye is going to be brought to there and it will take you back to that idea. So, play with the different formats, use organic mind maps, but then also throw in some box branches to really vary the style of your mind map and to grab your attention where it's needed. Likewise, in the speed maps, although on this one I've chosen a box style, I can play with the branches themselves. So the branch shape. And if I quite like those arrows, but I didn't want to apply it to the whole mind map, I just wanted this one, I can do that here. I can play about with that style. And then click apply style to children. You can see that gets added afterwards. So there's lots of fun to be had with all those different styles. If you wanted to modify things across the mind map sort of quickly, you can use the multi-select. That's another way of doing it. So if you hold either Control or if you're in a Mac command, first select the first branch that you want to edit, then hold down Command or Control and select the other branches. This brings up the multi-select tool. And here you can change the styles of multiple branches at the same time. So, even though I'm in the organic style right now, I can still choose, a different style branch just to vary it up. And if I did want to just highlight those ideas as well, I can change all the colors at the same time. So you can see there's many different ways of editing your mind map. There's different styles to suit, different ways of working. Or different moods, whether you're working with people or whether you're on your own. So I'm aware there's quite a few people with us today. So what I'm going to do is open up the floor and ask if anyone has, any questions about, what I've been through so far, or perhaps if there's something you're trying out in the mind maps that isn't quite working for you, or you're not quite sure how to do. So I can see there's one question there already. So I'm just going to have a little look. And while I'm reading that, I'm just going to open up this mind map I've created about Ayoa support and where you can find that various support. So let me have a look at the first question. So how easy is it to use mind maps as an overview with reference links to more detailed documents? Okay, so you know what, I'm going to go back to that book review that we've made there. So you can add attachments. So if I click on a branch, you'll see this little paperclip icon. And here I can attach documents. So either, documents from your device. So let's say, you've got a PDF you've been using for a reference, or maybe you've got something on Dropbox or Google Drive, or even if you wanted to add a link, you can add it in here. So I'm just going to add a web link. And you can see as soon as I add that web link, that a little icon appears on that branch, a little paperclip. And if I click on that, it directly opens it so I can see exactly what the attachment was. And that will make it really easy, to find your references and any, supporting documents that you've added. I hope that helps, but do let me know if you've got any more questions. So I'm using Radial maps and exporting these as PNG files. It would be great if the background was transparent. Is this possible? I don't think it exports as transparent at the moment. I'd be happy to pass that feedback along though. You may need to add it, edit it outside of Ayoa at this point, unfortunately, but we have got the team watching this today, so we'll make a note of your question and see if we can get that requested as a feature request for the future. Is mind map compatible with PowerPoint? No, we don't have a PowerPoint integration as we already have a built-in presentation creator. So if you have Ultimate, then right down here, we've got the presentation mode. So if I click add all, I can add everything from this mind map. And I just click where I want to start, click start presenting. And because they're not static slides, I can zoom in and zoom out and decide, how zoomed in I want to be. And just click through and start my presentation. You can also choose to skip ahead to different points. And I can zoom out at any point and still move around the mind map. So if I wanted to give an overview of the mind map, maybe halfway through, I'd be able to do that. And once you've added your mind map and organized it how you want, then just click stop presenting and you can go back to that then at any point. And because Ayoa is cloud-based, it means you could enter app.ayoa.com wherever you were, whatever laptop you're using, and you can start that presentation without having to worry about, opening a file, saving a file, or worrying whether wherever you're presenting has compatible software. Okay, so in organic mind map, how would you show that a sub-branch is linked to a different branch? Okay, so you want to add what's also known as a relationship arrow. So for this, we'll need the multi-select tool. So click the first branch that you want to add the connection to. Then either using Control or Alt, depending on whether you're using Mac or Windows, select the branch you want to connect it to. This brings up the multi-select menu. Now make sure that you only have 2 selected. If you can't see this icon, which is create connection, it will be because you have more than 2 branches selected. So just make sure you've only got 2. Then click create connection, and it creates a relationship arrow between the 2. You can see that automatically it will be a mix of those 2 colors. But if you want to edit that, just click on the relationship arrow, click on the paintbrush, and you can choose the different colors in here if you want. And that's how you would create a relationship arrow. Could others have guest access to the tool to work with it together, or do they have to buy it as well? So we have a free basic version available. So you can invite anyone you want to Ayoa. If you invite them via email to your mind map, they will get an email requesting them to set up a free account. Once they've set up a free account, they'll be able to add branches and view your mind map. As a free user, you won't have access to all of the features, and you will be limited to 5 mind maps at a time. Well, 5 boards, that includes mind maps, whiteboards, and task boards. But if you simply just want to introduce someone to mind mapping or to Ayoa, then the free account's really going to help them get started. Okay, so another question. So it's often difficult to know where to put certain ideas that is relevant to many branches. How to deal with such ideas? Well, what I've just shown the other attendee is probably quite relevant to you then. So, exactly what I've just shown, where you've got 2 ideas which are relevant to each other, you could use that relationship arrow. That's one way of doing it. Or if you've got a cluster of different ideas that are somewhat related, but maybe spread out across the mind map, you could use categories instead. So to do that, we're going to use that multi-select tool again. So select the first branch that you want to add to this collection. Then either use Control if you are on Windows, or Command if you're on Mac. Then just select a few different branches. So you can see I've got 3 selected. And if you're not sure what any of these do, just hover over them and you'll get a little prompt. So we're after create category. So you can see this is now circled those different branches. So if I click on the pencil tool, I can now name this category. So just an example, we'll call it idea 1. And from here, I can also add extra branches if I've forgotten them. And if I click the little paintbrush, I can change the color and the style of it as well. And now I can see that these branches, even though they've originated through different processes, even though they started at different points, I can see that they are related. So all of these branches relate to idea one, or perhaps particular research you're doing. You can name that category whatever you want. So that would be my suggestion for you. Where you've got maybe two ideas that are connected, then the relationship arrow will work really nicely for you. Or if you've got lots of different ideas scattered across the mind map which are connected, then the category will work really well for you there. Okay, so next question I have is someone who is new to mind mapping and wants to use it in one-to-one tuition. How easy is it to use for brainstorming and goal setting? I would say, it's very easy. The fact that you can collaborate with people as well. So it means that rather than just doing something for someone, you can actively get them involved in that goal setting. You could, set up a mind map and outline maybe, basic different goals, and then maybe ask them, how might they approach it? And you can compare and explore, different ideas. What you can also do is if you've got a group of different people as well, you can also change it so that you can't see the contributors. And that also keeps, ideas anonymous. What you can also do, so if you don't want to add someone to a mind map, but you want them to contribute ideas, you can make the mind map public. So if you go to share, you can turn it on here. So you can allow them to vote on branches, to add comments and add branches of their own. And then, once you've had like a load of feedback from them, you can make it private again. So you'll still have all those branches. So, you can take the time to go through all the information they've shared with you. And then you can go back at another time and come back with them with more ideas, or maybe a clearer idea of how they might approach the question they've come to you with. Okay, can I convert a branch into a new map? I think you're referring to the idea of like child maps, where you start a new mind map from a branch, an existing mind map. We don't have that feature within Ayoa, but what you could do instead, so for example, here where we've got present day relevance, I could copy this branch link, and as I create a new mind map, so I'm just going to make one really quickly. I'm just making one from a template. So what I can do is I can copy the branch links and add them to other mind maps. And I can even add a comment to say this mind map is related to another mind map I was working on, and then you can have the link to go back to that mind map. So it's just taking a little while for me to load. I'll be back on that in a second. So while that's loading, I can see there's another question about using mind maps for projects with timelines and dependencies. So for that, I would actually recommend using the task boards. And we have webinars on our YouTube channel where I've gone through task boards and how you use that for timelines and dependencies. We even have a view called the Gantt timeline, and I think that would work a lot better for you than trying to use a mind map as a timeline. So yeah, what I would suggest is having a look on our previous webinars on YouTube and just taking a look at our task boards, as I think that will work a lot better for what you're asking for. So back to the question about creating a new branch into a new mind map. So as we can't do that directly, what I can do, so I've opened up a new mind map. And I've copied the branch. So what I'm going to do is add a link. And I can like make a little note here. So this mind map is based on this branch from a mind map I did earlier about marketing. And you can see on the comment section now, I've got a description of that link. And if I click on that link, it will take me back to that branch I started with earlier. And likewise, what I could also do is if I just go back to that mind map I was just working on, I can copy this branch link and go back to this branch. I can add in a comment. So attach, like, I have created a new mind map based on this idea. Click on the link. And that essentially almost does the same thing. So, you're using this branch as a jump off point where you've gone, what, I need a new mind map for this. So, when I click on this comment, I can see that note I've left for myself where I've said, yep, I've created a new mind map based on this idea, and I've got a link that goes straight to that mind map. Oh, I'm not quite sure. Oh, I'm just gonna message you for a moment. Just messaging one of you a moment. I don't quite understand the question. So submit a question again, and I'll try my best to answer you. So instead of linking to the branch in the other map, can you copy the branch with child branches to the new map and delete the branch from the old map? You can do that. So you'll need to do it within the same tab. So for example, if I click on this branch and I cut it, I will need to go to the home page, then click on the mind map I want to copy it to, and then paste it. Because of the way data is stored in Ayoa, because it's cloud-based, you will need to make sure you've done it within the same tab. So you can't, for example, copy and paste between these two tabs, as the data won't be carried over. So yeah, copy or cut the branches, then navigate either through here or go back to the home page to the mind map where you want to paste it to. Oh, I'm so sorry. I feel like I've missed half of your question. Are pictures saved? I'm so sorry. I think I'm missing half of your question, or I'm lacking a bit of context there. Just going to have a look back at what the previous question was in case I'm missing something. Okay. I'm really, really sorry. If you could just clarify what you mean by our picture saved. So do you mean pictures on branches, or Oh, if you make a template, right, okay. Yeah, I don't think I got the template bit of your question, so thank you for clarifying that. Yes, if you make a mind map into a template, so you can do this up here and click Save as Template. Then it will also save any pictures you've added as well. The templates can take a bit of time to load if they're quite a big one. So I'll show you that in a second once that's loaded. And I can see there's another question. Are my map files compatible with Ayoa? You can import them so that you can continue working on them within Ayoa. So once I've shown this template, I will show you, where you import the map files. There we go. So you can see this is a template and it's copied over all of the images that I've had previously. Just a little bit messy at the moment. I think we're doing updates behind the scenes. And because of the server that I'm on, it's just making it appear a little bit weird. So I'm just going to click off that. But as you can see, if you create a template, it will include any images you've added. So just to show you how you would import a file from my mind map, go to the home page first, and you'll need to do this on the web app or the desktop app. Go to all boards, then click new. And then right down the bottom, you've got import. And when you click on this, you can import your mind maps from iMindMap. So you either drag and drop in your iMindMap files, or if you've previously used an iMindMap Cloud and mobile account, you can log in there and pick and choose the iMindMap files you want to import in. Okay, so just to confirm there, on the web app or desktop app, click on all boards, click new, and click on import. So it's only .imx files, so only iMindMap files. Okay, so just while I'm waiting for a few more questions, I can see my Simple Mind Light. No, just to reiterate, you can only import MyMap files from iMindMap, which is our previous legacy software. So it will have to be the file type .imx. We don't support imports from any other mind mapping software. Okay, so just while I'm waiting for any additional questions, if you want to find out more about using Ayoa, then we've got a huge range of support guides available on support.ayoa.com, and they have step-by-step guides on using a range of different features across a lot of different platforms. I mentioned earlier that we have previous webinars available on our YouTube channel. So I'm just going to send that link over now. And on there, you'll see previous webinars that we've done. So the person who was asking about using timelines, that YouTube channel is a great start, as you'll be able to find out about Gantt timeline and task boards, and that should really help you, find out how to use Ayoa in a way that's going to help you. And then if you've got any additional questions, you can email us at support@ayoa.com, and we'd be delighted to help you. We run webinars every Wednesday at the same time, unless unless there's any circumstances in which we're unable to, but usually it's on 2:30 GMT time. We try to keep it to under an hour. And next week it will be getting started. So we'll be looking at whiteboards, mind maps, and task boards. So if you want a more overview of Ayoa, so if you want to find out how to use task boards, if you haven't used whiteboards before and you want to see how all of them interact with each other, then I recommend having a look at that. And even if you can't attend at the time, by signing up, you'll still receive a recording the next day. So, it's worth signing up, even if you know that you're not going to be able to make it at that time, because then you end up with a video that you can watch at your own convenience whenever you want. Oh, brilliant. So thank you very much. We just received this lovely feedback on the Q&A, saying that Ayoa is one of the best investments I've made during this pandemic. Amazing app. Don't go a day without using it. Keep up the excellent work. Well, thank you really very, very much. That's really lovely to hear. We're always really happy to hear when people have been using Ayoa, especially over the last year. A lot has changed, and a lot of people have found themselves working remotely, and we have spent a lot of time adapting Ayoa and making improvements to make it easier for people to work from home. So I'm really glad to hear that it's been helpful to you. So we're coming up to about 20 past now, so I don't want to carry on for over an hour. So I'm just going to ask if anyone has any last minute questions before I finish for today, as I'd be happy to help. Oh, thank you. I'm glad that I was able to help. So just to reiterate, we've got loads of resources to help you. If you've got any more questions about Ayoa that you're not quite ready to ask right now. So our support guides on support.ayoa.com, our YouTube channel full of previous webinars that we've done, and of course, just pop us over an email at support@ayoa.com if there's anything that you weren't quite comfortable asking over the Q&A today, or if there's any additional information that you need. Okay, it looks like everyone's had their questions answered, so I'm going to end it there for today, but thank you so much for joining me. I really hope that it's been helpful, and that you'll join us at other webinars in the future. Like I said, even if you can't attend at exactly that time, it's still worth signing up, as you'll get a recording the next day. So thank you ever so much for joining me. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. And if there's anything else you need, just pop us over an email at support@ayoa.com. Thank you very much.